Welcome to the Coco Case Files Podcast, where true crime meets detective training. Let's open today's case. All right, detectives, grab your tea. Tonight, we're not in Boulder, Colorado, or Los Angeles. We're in the East End of London, 1888, Whitechapel, the smell of coal smoke in the air, narrow alleys packed with poverty, darkness broken only by the flicker of gas lamps. And it's here that one of the most infamous killers in history emerges, Jack the Ripper. Now, this isn't just a ghost story. It's an investigative study, a chance for us to ask, how do you run a homicide investigation without forensics, without DNA, without even fingerprinting? How do you think like a detective when all you've got are your eyes, your instincts, and your persistence? Let's talk about the murders. Between August and November of 1888, 5 women, Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, were murdered. All were living in poverty. Many worked the streets at night. They were easy prey, invisible to polite society. But to the killer, they weren't invisible at all. The brutality escalated. Nichols, throat cut. Chapman, mutilation. Stride and Eddowes, killed the same night, just streets apart. And finally, Mary Jane Kelly, killed indoors. Her room transformed into a slaughterhouse. This wasn't random chaos. This was patterned violence. Now here's where the detective work comes in. Picture those alleys, crowded, dirty, no controlled perimeter. By the time police arrived, locals had already swarmed the scenes. Any trace evidence, blood drops, footprints, fibers, was trampled. Investigators had no gloves, no photography like we use now, no way to seal evidence. All they could do was observe. Who saw what? Who was in the area? Where were the bodies left? Detectives had to rely on mapping the murders, interviewing terrified witnesses, and trying to find common threads in the darkness. And this is where we, as investigators, need to pay attention. Because when your tools are stripped away, your mind becomes the tool. Observation, documentation, discipline. Then came the letters. Hundreds arrived at newspapers and police stations, signed Jack the Ripper. Some were crude hoaxes, some might have been authentic. The Dear Boss letter named him Jack the Ripper. The From Hell note came with half a human kidney. But here's the danger. The media fanned the flames. Journalists ran with rumors. Public panic grew. Detectives found themselves chasing phantoms instead of evidence. Sound familiar? Even today, the media can derail an investigation if we let it. A case can be tried in the headlines before it ever reaches a courtroom. Lesson here? You work the case, not the press. Don't let outside noise dictate your leads. Also, if you don't give the media a story, they will make one up. So what do we take from all this? First, victimology matters. The police back then dismissed these women because of their lifestyle. They didn't dig into who they were, what risks they faced, what their lives looked like. That blindness cost them insight. Second, geography matters. Every body was found in the same few blocks of Whitechapel. Today we'd call it geographic profiling. Back then, it was just walking the streets and looking for patterns. That should have been their anchor. Third, documentation matters. Most of the original case files are gone, destroyed, misplaced. Without documentation, an investigation dies twice. Once when the victim is buried, and again when the case can't be reviewed. And last, mindset matters more than tools. No DNA, no fingerprinting, no digital forensics, just persistence, curiosity, and logic. That's the core of detective work, and it's why this case still teaches us 135 years later. Jack the Ripper was never caught. Maybe we'll never know his name. But the point isn't who he was. It's what this case shows us about investigative thinking. Protect the scene, study the pattern, respect the victim, document everything, and never let the story get hijacked by panic. So here's your takeaway question. If you were standing in that Whitechapel alley, gaslight at your back, body at your feet, no forensics, no CSI lab, just your notebook and your wits, how would you work the case? That's the Ripper's legacy, not the monster himself, but the lesson he left for detectives who came after him. Until the next file, keep your eyes sharp and your curiosity sharper.